All right. It is that time, ready to kick off office hours. As you may have noticed, I am not Andrea, nor am I Carol. Andrea is on vacation and Carol is out. She's feeling a bit under the weather, so I'll be at the wheel today. So please, I appreciate your patience as I try to fill their very large shoes. So I believe this is the part of the show where we go through and introduce the members of the Flow team and talk about kind of what we have on the agenda for today. So for today we have two projects that are going to be having an AMA and presenting for Everland and Hype.Day, and then we're going to be talking a little bit about the NFT Catalog and interoperability on Flow.
Also, we'll be mentioning the new version of the storefront contract. That's a last-minute addition. We'll just spend a few minutes on that.
Yes, definitely love it. Cool. All right. So, yeah, let me get our Fig Jam board where I can talk about the team. All right. So, a lot of these are familiar faces to people who are frequent viewers of Office Hours or in our Discord, but we have our developer avocados, Kim, Andrea, Bruno, and Max. You probably see them around the Discord answering questions and in our forums and places like that. You have the community team, Carol and myself. You have our Cadence crew, Josh, Bastian, Alvaro, and Satyam. Then you have the Flow client library team and SDK team, Greg, Chase, Gregor, and Yanez. Our developer experience crew, Srinjoy, Mac, Pete, Morton, Alex, and Amit. And the legend, our solutions engineer, Albert. And if anyone is... Oh.
Hi, everybody. Fun to be here. Cool. Yeah, we got a lot of very talented people here in and out of Flow. So, yeah. Hello, everybody. Welcome.
And if you want to add your talented name to the roster, I believe we're looking to acquire a senior protocol engineer. So, yeah, we can get the link to that posted.
Also hiring solutions engineers. So anybody is interested in that type of a role, please apply. I'll stick a link in the chat.
Awesome. Good, man. Thanks, Albert. All right. So without further ado, Val, you're up to talk about 4Everland.
Great. Thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm Val, a global marketing manager from 4Everland. First of all, I'd like to thanks for inviting us. It's a pleasure to be here. So let me share my screen and present 4Everland. Here it is. So just a few words about our project. By the way, guys, can you see that? Is it okay?
Looks great.
Oh, great. Thank you. So, yeah, just a few words about 4Everland. 4Everland is a Web3 cloud platform which is helping developers with decentralized storage. We recently started our integration with Flow ecosystem by implementing Flow wallet into our platform. Therefore, I'm here presenting 4Everland, and we are really happy to see this kind of integration, because we see that more and more developers in the sphere of Web3 require decentralized storage. So as I said, 4Everland is a Web3 cloud computing platform, and mainly we are helping developers and ordinary users with decentralized storage on IPFS and Arweave. Currently, we have already launched 3 services, among them gateway service, bucket, and hosting. If we talking about gateway, I want to highlight that it's a it supports global acceleration, so you folks have you don't have to worry about any kind of long time downloading or opening your website. We are backing up you in this sphere. Also, it supports custom domains, so you can create your own domain and use it for your project. Of course, it's SSL certificate. It is automated certificate service for everyone who are using that. Another product that we are building is called hosting. It mainly helps developers with hosting their products on their projects on IPFS and IPFS, Arweave and ICP, but it would be in future. So main features of that is also global acceleration and support of ENS, SNS, and IPANS. It's high performance, so you can try it. Right now, it's free for developer. Sorry, I see the note. Hear the noise. Someone with mic. Yeah, thank you so much. So right now it's free for developers. We provide everyone with 1 free gigabyte of storage space, so everyone can try it and use it. And the last one, the service that we are building is called Bucket. Bucket works almost the same as cloud computing platform like Google Drive or any other platform that you are used to. Just you are uploading a file to the platform, drag and drop it, and after that is done. You can share it. You can copy the link, paste it somewhere where you have, and also it helps to store the files on decentralized storage. So just in order to let you folks learn more about 4Everland, I want to showcase how it works actually. So when you opening the platform, you first of all have to log in, which shows Flow wallet. To do that, the first page that you're gonna see is called dashboard, and here you can see a bucket and hosting. This just main status of your projects. On the left side, you can see hosting and bucket main services that we are providing. So if you want to host a project, first of all, you have to click on new project. Then the platform is integrated with integrates with GitHub, so you can import your repository from GitHub and then host your project. So as I said, right now it is can be hosted on IPFS, but we are also working on hosting on IPFS on Arweave and ICP. So it's quite easy to use solution. The time that it requires you to host any projects, just 2 minutes or 3. That's all. And as I said, Bucket, which works like Web3 Google Drive. You just create your bucket. Bucket works like like a folder on our platform. You create a new bucket. Here you can click on Arweave. That would mean that every file that is uploaded to IPFS is also synchronized to Arweave. If we click Arweave and then type anything, we've created a new bucket and we are ready to upload files. We can select file, and here it is, just a picture, random picture. So you see it is uploaded, and now we can use it. It has AR status, which is synchronized. It means that it's uploading to AR, but also you can see the IPFS hash on here. You can check it. That's easy to do, and that's quick to realize. So as we started the integration with Flow, we are really happy to say that recently we've launched a new campaign to support Flow ecosystem users, and therefore we fitted on that. So everyone just, so everyone is welcome to use our services and get their 30 gigabytes of IPFS storage by claiming your float. It's free to do, and welcome to 4Everland.
Thank you so much for sharing that. We're honored to have you supporting Flow, and I look forward to diving deep into your platform and learning more.
Yes, echoing what Albert said. This is fantastic. Does anyone have any questions? Feel free to unmute or fire them into the chat. So far, nothing's come over our Slido link, but we can. Happy to answer. Have any questions fired at Val? Yeah, probably should do that.
And Val, was that a float that I saw?
Yeah, that's right. Here it is. Yeah, so it's a special campaign to support Flow ecosystem users, and everyone is welcome to claim their 33 gigabytes of IPFS storage for 12 months. And also, it is a campaign for everyone who owns the float, who claimed the float. And if you are logging, but if you have not claimed the float, but you are still using Flow wallet, you have preferences regarding the limits of IPFS storage that we are providing. So we are providing 5 gigabytes for everyone who uses Flow wallet.
Awesome. That's super cool. Do you mind also just dropping a link into the office hours chat?
Sure.
Yes. Amazing. We all love floats here, so.
It's true. It's like one of my favorite collections I have. I got to get to all the floats.
That's true.
All right. Well, don't see any questions come through. So, Val, if you want to stick around, and maybe if any questions come through later after the next presentations, maybe we can answer them then. So, cool. All right. So, next up on our agenda is Hype.Day. Amir, Sean, Nazan, Aziz, if you want to take it away.
Sure thing. Let me just share my screen real quick.
Cool. We can see that.
Perfect. Awesome. So we are Hype.Day, and we're basically a way to build high-quality access lists for your mints, giveaways, and raffles on Flow as well as on other chains. So whether you're doing like a pre-mint list or a giveaway or raffle to engage your community, after you've already minted or after you've already launched, it's completely free to use, and I'll take you on a quick walkthrough of how it works. So let me just log out real quick. So we support, obviously, Flow. So I'll just log in now with my wallet. And then what I'm going to do is just create a project. I'll just call this Flow Demo Test. I'm going to select the Flow chain. There, you're basically going to select whatever whatever chain you're using, whatever requirements you want to use. Let me toss in a quick logo and banner. All right, and then I've essentially done the visual setup of the page. You can see it by launching a public preview, just like how it looks currently in its current setup. You can add a custom slug, so I could be like, this is, Flow office hours. instead of the one that's randomly generated. I can add a YouTube link that'll display right in the project itself. And then here's the stuff that most people care about. So you can add wallet requirements, right? So I could require me to have, 100 flow, 1 flow, whatever. I'm not going to turn that on because I don't currently have any flow in my wallet, so I'll fail. You can require the user to own an NFT from a specific collection. You can ask the user to provide a verified email. So what will happen there is it'll ask the user to submit one. They'll receive an email to verify it from Hype.Day. Once it's verified, you'll also get that data. Twitter verification, you can ask them to follow a specific user. So I'm going to turn that on. Retweet a specific tweet. Minimum number of followers. So this is really an anti-bot mechanism, right? Where like I want them to have at least 100 followers. And account creation before a specific date. Again, sort of an anti-bot measure. We also support Discord verification, so you can require someone A, to have a Discord, but B, to join your specific server. So I'm just going to put in the Hype.Day server. You can also require them to have a specific role on that server. So let's say you have a verified role, or maybe a POAP role, or a float role, rather. You can ask the user to be one of those people, so that really it's designed to increase engagement in the Discord, but also make sure that your whatever giveaway or raffle or however you're incentivizing people to sign up and join your community, that it's going to real actual people and people who are putting in the time. And then the last thing, you can add a custom field for verification. The way that we typically see projects use this is asking to send a link to a screenshot, or basically any sort of creative way to cover what's not a hard and fixed registration requirement. So it might be like, hey, leave a comment, on Twitter, or tag 3 friends in a tweet and send us the link to that. So you can do some manual stuff as well. So let me just save those changes. You can obviously schedule it before a certain date and after a certain date, as well as maximum entries. And then once everyone's signed up, and I'll show you this because I'll go sign up for my project myself, you'll start to see the data populated in, and then you'll also see incomplete registrations where the user is trying to register but has failed. It's both good for troubleshooting to understand, like maybe I have a requirement in there that's too difficult for most people to reach. But also just like general troubleshooting, and you'll still get the data on anyone who tries to sign up. All right. So I forgot that that's a YouTube link. Here is my Flow demo. This is the banner just because we're doing a product hunt launch today. So if you do have a product hunt account and love us, please do check us out there. So I think I should be good on these requirements. I've joined the Discord, I've joined the Twitter, I have 100 followers. So I'll just click to register. All right. And now if I go back to my admin view of that page, you'll see all the social data that comes along with that, right? So I have my Discord username, I have my Twitter account, my email, and along with wallet address. So you're also able to build a social profile on what your community looks like and engage with them in other ways, outside the platform. You can also download this as a CSV. And yeah, I guess just to recap, it's free. We have no plans to ever charge for this piece of the functionality. And yeah, would love your feedback. The Flow community has been super welcome and opening. And so really appreciate the opportunity to present to you guys here at Office Hours.
We really appreciate you presenting. Thank you so much for doing that.
Yeah, thank you. This is really cool. Let's see. I don't see any questions in the Slido yet, or let's see in the chat if we have anything. And anyone who's here, feel free to unmute and also ask any questions you have.
Yeah, I'll also say our Discord is discord.gg/Hype.Day. If you do start using the tool and have any feedback or feature requests, we're super responsive in Discord, and we're trying to build this in a way that is like user-led product development. And we're seeing a lot of traction with Flow projects, especially. So definitely want to give some love to the Flow ecosystem.
We'll take it. I've included the link to your Discord in the chat here and in our general office hours chat as well. Oh, we got some questions coming in. Can you add multiple NFTs to restrict the access lists by, i.e. users who have NFT 1 and NFT 2?
So not Aziz or Nazan or Amir can comment on this if this is wrong, but that's it. Not the way it currently works, but we can certainly plan to support that in the future. I think adding multiple required NFT collections is definitely something that a lot of projects will need. One thing I'll also mention is we have, sorry, my throat's closing up. We have cross collaborations on our list as well. So like hold a collection from an Ethereum NFT collection, but the project is actually Flow, to enable sort of like cross-chain collabs.
Awesome. We have another question. What other chains do you support, and how is the traction there compared to Flow?
Yeah, so we're actually just launching today. We got a little bit lucky in that we talked with Flowverse, and they were extremely helpful in like setting us up with our first project, which was the AFL Mint, because we hadn't actually launched publicly. So we've just kind of done organic outreach. But right now we support Flow, Solana, Polygon, Avalanche, and Ethereum. I would say most of the projects we're seeing right now have been on Flow just because that's where we kind of got started. But we are seeing some Solana and Ethereum projects fill in as well.
Well, let's allow us to toot our horn a little bit for people building on Flow, and congratulations on the launch.
Thank you.
Awesome. So there's a team formerly known as Zcodes in the Flow community, and they've done some really amazing work. I'm gonna turn it over. Well, first of all, shout out to Amit, Bilal, and Pratik. I think Bilal will be presenting the NFT catalog, and just to intro it, the NFT catalog is pretty vital. It fills a gap that exists in the protocol right now. You cannot see what's in a given account on Flow without explicitly checking for it, and the NFT catalog fills that gap nicely. With that said, I'd like to turn it over to Bilal.
Thanks, Albert. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And I can just jump into this. Cool. But yeah, as Albert said, we've been working on the NFT catalog, and the main goal of the catalog is to answer some questions for dApp developers that were very tough to answer. You basically like, hey, give me the NFTs in an account, right? And traditionally, as I'm sure if you've written any dApps, that you'll know that you kind of have to know which NFTs to look for, so that you can think of the NFT catalog as an on-chain registry, and you can answer questions like, give me all the NFTs in an account, and then it will use the catalog to kind of figure out which NFTs exist in the ecosystem, and then return some of this data. And I'll dive into some examples in a bit, but the goal is also to unlock interoperability, right? We want to push the metadata standard. That way, your NFTs are easily supported across the ecosystem, and marketplaces, wallets. I mean, any games, dApps can use NFTs and not have to, write specific logic for specific NFTs. So I'll start with the site. This is the main site, Flow NFT Catalog. So you can come here to kind of view the catalog, which NFTs are there, view different proposals that are being made to the catalog, and also the main thing, which I'll kind of go over today, is submit an NFT to the catalog. So if you're a dApp developer, you probably want to come to the site. You do want to come to the site and submit your NFT, and I'll go through the process. And once your NFT is submitted to the catalog, an admin can come and kind of approve it or ask for some adjustments just to make sure the interoperability is where we need it to be. And once that's done, then any wallet, any marketplace, any DApp can easily surface and kind of view your NFTs and flow accounts, the ecosystem. So the site here is Flow NFT Catalog. So the flow to add something, you can just go verify metadata and add to catalog. And verify metadata, again, we want to make sure that your NFT is good to go from an interoperability standpoint to really unlock the power like across the ecosystem. So step one is you want to select the address that contains your NFT contract. This just helps the system kind of locate it. So here, just for testing purposes, I'm going to use an example NFT contract that I already have saved, but you put in the address and it'll basically just tell you which NFTs. So it's smart enough to know like, hey, which are the non-fungible token contracts in this account, and if it finds one, it'll display them, and then you can. I'm going to use the example. And then there's some information it needs to figure out like some data about the NFT, like the metadata views and whatnot. So one of the pieces of information it needs is a storage path. We try to predict your storage path for you, but if not, you can always manually type it in. But in this case, it kind of works like you just click this and it'll autofill for you. Now here you have two options. You can either enter an account that owns this NFT on the specific network. So if you remember, I did test that earlier. Or you can log in if your account actually owns the NFT. Both paths work. So I will put in an account that owns an example NFT on this. And then what the system does is it goes and tries to extract the NFT. And if it's able to find an NFT, it then tries to confirm that you're adhering to like some core metadata views that are pretty essential for interoperability across the ecosystem, right? So royalties, collection information, display, external URL, basic stuff, right? And then this page is pretty cool because if you're not implementing some of the views, it'll actually tell you like these will be red, and it'll tell you that, hey, you need to implement this. So you can kind of go, update it on testnet, come back, check here again, and then once you have a green flag, you're good to go. So it'll show you like this specific NFT doesn't have royalties, so you won't see any, but like you'll see like like collection display view, external, just like some basic metadata. So once you've done this, you just enter a unique identifier. This is a URL safe identifier. As you'll see later, you can forward on the site, kind of go visit a specific NFT collection, and so just a message that you have. And that's how you can kind of propose your NFT collection to the NFT catalog. So I'm not going to do that right now because we've already done it, but one thing I will show is just like proposals, right? So we have some outstanding proposals to the catalog that kind of have been created. These are on mainnet that are actually already approved and onboarded to the catalog already. So blocks and component are already on the catalog. So that's why it says approved, but you'll be able to see your proposal here. And then testnet, you can just switch across the networks. There's a bunch of testing on testnet. So these are the proposals, right? And let me show you an example. If you click into one of these, just basic information about the proposal, like what address was used, what was the URL used for the proposal. And if you actually visit that URL, you can see the specific metadata view that I was showing earlier, some basic information. And then for the actual catalog, you can come here and see which NFTs are on the catalog already. So right now, as you saw earlier, these are the 4 approved ones on mainnet. Testnet has some as well. But yeah, here you can kind of come and see the different NFT collections. Now, how do you use this, right? So there's different ways to use this. So here's the main repo, which, by the way, these two links I've linked in the first chat if you want to take a look. But this is the main repo for the NFT catalog. And here it kind of dives deeper into the specific directions on how to onboard your NFT collection to the NFT catalog, and kind of just goes over what I talked about today. And then if you scroll down, it actually has some example cadence scripts on how to use the catalog. So this is no backend required. You can go straight to on-chain and get some information like retrieve all NFT collections on the catalog, retrieve all collection names in the catalog. And then this is a powerful one, right? Retrieve all NFTs, including metadata owned by an account. So you can just pass in an account here, and then it will get all the NFTs here. And as you can see, there's no imports. Like we're not importing, a bajillion NFT contracts here. So it's able to do it with these 3 imports, and it should stay with these 3 imports. And it uses the NFT catalog to kind of figure out what are the NFTs in your account, and then it uses the metadata views to understand how to read. That's why we kind of have to enforce that. And here's another example. If you're a marketplace and you want to set up a user's collection for an NFT on the NFT catalog that they don't have set up already, this is kind of a code path that you can follow. That's just a developer. That's basically it at a high level. I guess I will pause for any questions.
I'll just add that, we want to be able to approve submissions to ensure that a given contract is, not a copy of like Top Shot, for example. So this is kind of a nice way for us to curate the catalog. And I can't stress enough that if you have an NFT project on Flow and you care about, NFT interoperability, if you want your NFTs to be first-class citizens throughout the ecosystem, you're going to want to implement all of the metadata views that are required for the catalog. And B, you're going to want to get into the catalog itself. And what's nice is to get into the catalog is you literally don't you don't have to write any code, which is really exciting. And then for anybody that's consuming the catalog, they support one thing in the catalog and they've done the work to support the entire catalog. So this is going to quickly become a requirement for a great many projects on Flow. I would say the mainstay of marketplaces and wallets.
Yeah, and I will say, and then this whole app here is just like Albert said, it's so you don't have to go and run transactions yourself, but it is a dApp. There's no backend. Like it's just to make your life easier to onboard to the catalog. If you wanted to, you could run the transactions yourself as well.
We have some questions coming in. The first one is
question. I see it.
Yeah.
Let me read the question just in case people aren't looking at it. It says, will Dapper Studio projects be supported through this catalog? Excellent question. We have a working plan to get Top Shot integrated into the catalog. But if I have my way, and I'm pretty annoying, we will get every project into this catalog. That is the goal. I can't definitively say that that's happening, but I think there's a good chance that we will. Are there any examples on how to implement all the views? Yeah, that's a great question. So the example contract in the Flow NFT GitHub repo, let's stick that in here.
Also, if you're still looking at my screen on the website, I should have gone over this. We have there's a button here that says View Example NFT. You can click this, and it takes you right to the example NFT contract, which implements the views. But I can also link this.
I stuck it in there.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
So, Bilal, question. So the views that are implemented in some of the views are not required, right? Is it every single view that's in the example contract or a subset?
It's a subset. So that subset exists in, I believe it's in the documentation here. So these right here, these are the ones that are required per se.
Awesome. And if you've already, have a live contract, you can still retrofit your contract to implement the views. If there's data missing on chain, there's things you can do there. So if you have any questions about, or if you feel like you're blocked getting into the catalog, please reach out on Discord and we'll get you through it. Do we have any other questions? So I see. Okay. Are there examples on how to implement? No, we did that one. Does being on here mean your project will be available on all wallets, block to, et cetera? That is the goal, right? We want to get away from where we were before there was a metadata standard on Flow, which was each project sort of had to fend for themselves to get adopted or to get supported, like Rarible or Blockto. We are very much aware of people's pains in the ecosystem, and this is meant to address exactly that. So yes, that is what we are driving for here with this catalog. Yeah, Bilal, anything else worth mentioning? Great work, by the way, Zay Codes.
Yeah, I mean, like Albert said, if you're implementing, it's live, so you can start submitting your proposals right now, if you want. And if you need any help implementing the views or anything like that, feel free to reach out on Discord. We'll be delivering the proposal.
It's awesome. I guess this is a good segue for another community contract, namely the NFT Storefront V2. It is a new contract, so it doesn't replace the existing storefront, but it does address many of the issues in that contract. I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about it, but I'll just call out some of the high level changes that I think have some major implications for the ecosystem. The minor stuff is, you can add custom data to a listing so that you don't have to call your back end, presumably, to know based on data emitted in an event, if or if not you care to record or do something as a result of an event being emitted. That was sort of an issue with the first contract. The other really exciting thing to me about this contract is originally, if you wanted to sell an item on a given marketplace, you had to go and physically visit that marketplace. It is true that Blocked.Bay did list items, but for the most part, unless a marketplace is going to earn part of the sale, they won't list an item, an NFT. This contract allows you to create a commission that anybody can receive for facilitating the sale. So thus incentivizing the listing of a given NFT. So any dApp developer that doesn't have plans on having their own secondary marketplace could integrate the storefront contract, allow users to list items for sale from within their dApp, and have them end up across the entire ecosystem, which I think is pretty cool. I think that's it in a nutshell. I'll stick a link in the chat. But wow, we got through a lot of stuff. If anybody any questions about anything, just please unmute and say hi. Actually, Gregor, I noticed some issues on the storefront contract that you created today. Do you want to talk about those? It looks like you want to expose the ability to use the contract in the Go SDK. Did I get that right? And sorry to put you on the spot.
Yeah. Actually, by coincidence, I was just adding the storefront contract version 2 to the emulator, as well as some other contract updates that I'm doing on the emulator right now. Didn't know this is something that was recently updated, but it will now, both versions will be available on emulator if using the contract flag, and I made sure that is exposed as a Go library in the Go library as well, so anyone can use it programmatically to get those source codes of the contracts.
Awesome. Thanks for doing that, and thanks for sharing. Any questions about anything at all? Please unmute or stick it in the Slido. Love to hear from you. Yeah. So
Otherwise, folks can, we have time for the breakout rooms, the SDK, FCL, and Cadence breakout rooms, if people want to join those. One quick thing I wanted to mention is that moving forward, office hours is going to be paused as it's going to be taken sort of to the drawing board and reworked, but we will update the community on when it's coming back.
Right on. Should we do the breakout piece? Seems like a good time.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm always torn. I want to hang out in here, but I also like hanging out in the Cadence room.
Yeah, I totally understand.
Awesome.
But we'll be here if users have any more questions for about NFT Catalog or for Hype.Day or for Everland. Feel free to fire them into the Slido link. Yeah. Or just hang out and chat. That's cool too.
So somebody asked in the chat if we were having office hours next week. I think the answer is no.
I believe the answer is no. Keep your eyes peeled on the Announce channel here in Discord, and follow us on Twitter. That could change, but I believe that the answer is no at this time.
Right on. Well, if you have any Cadence questions, it looks like Bastion's in there. This is a really great opportunity to talk to one of the creators of Cadence, Josh too. Cadence OGs. Hit them up, ask them questions.
I've got a question about a mainnet update planned for next Tuesday. Does anyone know if that is still go ahead or canceled?
Huh. Do we have anybody from the protocol side? I hate that I don't know the answer to that question.
Same.
How about this? We'll follow up in the office hours chat. I'll ask.
Yeah.
I think there's a spork schedule actually. Let's look at that. There's the upcoming sporks. I don't see one on the calendar. It says August, so it seems like there isn't one, but we'll pay attention to the announcements. We're pretty good about announcing those. I'll stick a link in the chat right now. Here's the upcoming spork schedule. Awesome. So yeah, people are starting to hop into the SDKs/FCL channel as well as Cadence. Again, this is a really good time to get answers from people that are very knowledgeable on all things Flow. So if you have any questions for any of those folks, this is a great time to get in there, chop it up with those fine people. In the meantime, there's still a lot of people in here. Does anybody have anything they'd like to ask? This is a great time to mix it up with the community.
It doesn't have to be, specific to Flow or technical. Anyone have any cool Web3 stuff they want to talk about? That's always, that we can do that too.
I think we just have a question coming in for Val. What is the main differentiator of AWS and 4Everland?
Oh, thank you for a question. AWS and 4Everland. If we compare two products, they are completely different because AWS is for centralized storing your files, storing your projects, but 4Everland works with IPFS and Arweave, which means that all your files, all your data is stored on decentralized protocols. So it's in this way, it's absolutely different. But still, I want to highlight that 4Everland's bucket is AWS compatible, so you don't need to have special skills working with bucket, working with hosting. It's almost the same like working with any other platform. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for that. Jinx, Kim. So what now, you guys? Do we call it?
We could party. We could chill for 15. I don't really know. If anybody else has any other questions, if anyone's coming in. Anything you guys need debugging, we have the Flow team all here. All eyes.
Yeah.
We could let it run for like 5-10 more minutes. If no more questions come in, then Ooh, I see Jacob popped a. Oh, he's in Cavens.
Yeah.
Maybe there's some fun stuff going on there. I should go down there.
You
I'm
should
probably
see
gonna
what's.
hop in there too.
Yeah, hop on down there. See, that's where the party's at. We'll I'll be here if anyone else has any questions.
Well,
Feel
hold the
free to
fort,
ping me.
Albert. Thank you. I'll come back.
Thank
Oh, I
you.
said Albert, but I'll come back.
Thank you.
Hello. We've got a lot of people now.
Party.
Anybody have anything they want to chat about?
Yeah, anyone have any questions? Anything cool to show off?
So hi everybody. We're starting to talk about NFTs that can change over time in the context of games and otherwise. And I guess I had some questions about it. Like I'm wondering, at least for the sake of like third party dApps to be able to track how many users are on a given dApp, having the user sign a transaction is sort of like the easiest way to do it. But I don't think that's indicative of usage of a given contract. I was just kind of wondering how to address that. Like, if I'm using a dApp, I'm not always going to be signing transactions. Or should I sign a transaction just for the sake of metrics? I know. I guess that's not really fair to stick this in the cadence room, but I feel like it's somewhat relevant. Yeah, go ahead, Bastian, please.
Yeah, I think it's going to depend pretty much on the use case. If it's pretty often if you are a user of a dApp, you are signing a transaction that performs something, like you're buying an NFT or transferring it. So that's like a pretty good indicator. I think you have to be careful not to confuse the signers of the transaction. There's also the payer. Sometimes you're also paying for that transaction, but as probably a lot of people know, if you use like Dapper and Blockdo, then it might be subsidized and you're not the payer. So that's maybe like something to watch out for. But in general, it's a pretty good indicator.
I feel like NFTs were barely scratching the surface for utility, and you can use an NFT without signing a transaction, right? Like if it's an item in a game, for example, and without that transaction, you never know, that user is really actually active on that dApp in a trustless way, I guess.
I see. Yeah, sort of like the example would be you have like a character in your account, and you're crafting, sort of like a Minecraft like game where you're crafting several NFTs together. Like how would anyone be able to track that there's sort of indirect activity for that dApp, which is actually in the user's account? Yeah, that's interesting. Probably through events. If nothing happens on chain, and usually there's no real way to see it.
Well, even if something does happen on chain, if you don't have the user's signature, at this point, third parties that track stats for dApps on Flow are kind of flying blind. But let me ask you a specific cadence question. Let's say I have an NFT that has properties that reflect the state of the game. You could store that on the contract level and have the dApp sign a transaction to mutate the state to reflect the state of the game. But that's sort of what I was getting at, is sort of if there would be a standard or common pattern for that, for an NFT that changes over time. Should you require the user signature? Should it just be the dApp?
I don't quite know what the example would be where you're interacting with something that you don't sort of own in a way. A good example would be the fungible token. Like if I transfer coins, I'm like changing if I'm sending some coins to you, Albert, I'm changing your account, right? Like I'm modifying your account. How would you track that? There's an event being emitted. That's what you would know. I don't quite follow with the contract stuff. Maybe you can elaborate a bit, but I don't quite.
Yeah, so like I own an NFT and I can, control it to a certain extent. But let's say there's properties in it that reflect my standing in a game. I shouldn't be able to change those things, right? Because then I could make myself, whatever I wanted in the game. That should be controlled by the game itself, by the admin resource, for example.
Yeah. Yeah, you could do that. You could just make it so that it's like read only for the user, and only the person who, like the administrator, is able to change it. It might also automatically update, like one example. It's not a non-fungible token, but like the fungible token, like you have a total supply. That's like a state of the whole contract, right? It gets updated all the time when like some new coins are minted or whatever. And the user doesn't have, it only has read access to it. You can modify it, so that you could translate that same concept to like an NFT where you have a big game, and I don't know, users have certain amount of NFTs in their account. You could like track that in the contract, and it would be like a read only portion that the user could modify. And or like the other example you had was like the standing in a game. Like, I'm a user and I have like 100 NFTs. If that matters for the game, I have like a legendary, I don't know, sword in my account. Then yeah, you could like calculate some certain standing that the user wouldn't be able to modify directly, but sort of indirectly by owning more items. Does that sort of answer your question? Like, it's definitely possible.
Yeah, I guess I was just kind of wondering, because things are still, pretty early on. I was just wondering, for properties for NFT specifically, what is the pattern? Like, should I always require the signature of the user when I want to change the state of their NFT potentially? Or should the admin resource just unilaterally be able to make a change?
In that sense, who has the permissions to modify someone else's? Yeah, it's the same. It depends, right? Like, you could make the same argument for code updates. If I bought an NFT and then you're changing, the contract author is changing the code, how it behaves. Like it's always a trust relationship between the contract author and you as a user. Certain things you might agree with, these code updates, and some others you don't, and it's up to you to decide if you want to or not. The same here, like if the contract has some functionality for the administrator to change sort of all the data in your NFT, if there might be a good reason, like maybe it's the standing. If like all the NFT fields are changeable by the administrator in such a way that they could sort of perform a rug pull where they just empty out your NFT and it's becoming worthless, then you got to be careful. But there is no overall pattern. There might be very good use cases for this, like the standing or something like that.
Yeah, I feel like we're going to start to see, NFTs that evolve and change, and those changes cannot just be arbitrarily made by a user. Like, think about like the mileage of your car, for example, or the age of a bottle of wine, right? Things affect this can affect the state of an NFT. It would be cool to have a standard, or not a standard, that's a strong word, some patterns that people could follow for that.
Yeah, if